So when I finally had given up on trying to get my point across, the case was starting to be active. There was nothing I could do. So finally, I took the ball. I got balls. I was at the House Horizon because it was overwhelming. Kelly had everything. So I said, I'm going to go to the Facebook of Jill Rabbit. She was on Facebook. So I friended her. And I went behind Facebook and I messaged her everything. I took videos with my camera. I showed there was the guy at House of Living at, he was dealing marijuana. He had plants. He had a grow operation. I turned him in, I said, this is what's going on where I'm at. I'm going to cover that. I gave my LAPD Z900 number, LAPD and Sheriff's Department. So I think I thought she had all that. And, I was turning everything in. I was breaking everything, and I was telling her things that were just unbelievable. So after about 6 months or 5 months, I finally went to check it because I was just all happy. I was going to, and it never went on there. I had not done the Facebook thing right. And she had never gotten one of these cops. Well, years later, when I went back to look at her case, to look at that, more stuff out of Jill, because I don't look at Jill Roberts very often, but I did, and because she wanted, she had to run for a political office to be, she was doing a campaign when I met her, or I was supposed to meet her. She was in the middle of the campaign because she was, going to be the state attorney, but so she, so I wanted, I'm going to do Jill's on her, and so. I realized I had so I knew that Kelly FBI could get that stuff because I had to be, because it was all recorded. It was re-recordings, so it was written in there, sitting there. So I know that Kelly would have to be able to get that out. So I finally put that on there and said, Kelly, and she probably knew that already, but then she had that. Well, a couple weeks later, while I was in Oakland, I did some more stuff on Jill Rabbit, and looked at her and I read stuff, and she said, it was something that she said that there was a thing about her talking about, or an article saying that she had problems with Facebook and being able to investigate, and she can do that now. So I think she might have got my stuff, or Kelly kept it and didn't give it to her because I don't think she was able to get it. I don't know. She might have warrants on that, so it might have. We don't know if she had it or not. We just don't know. But it's state and federal. So so that became a very powerful thing. The technology was screwing that big time. So these things were very important. And yeah, the fact that Mark in 1998 was willing to murder me and take money for it, but then turn someone down, proved that he really, he was scared. He got mad one day. He goes, why? Because they were talking about the guards. He goes, why did you tell them I have special service training? Why did you tell them why did you tell them that I'm a special forces? So, Mike, you're a Navy SEAL, but you went to Navy SEAL training. Yeah, but I didn't make it. He didn't know. He was scared of that. He thought he was really going to beat the case. He really believed in his heart he had a case to win. Like, you murdered this motherfucking people. I know you. I didn't say that. But he believed that he was going to win. He really did. And he was surprised. And, or at least he just had a break of a moment. If you read that case and all this stuff, it's just, But, the thing that really got to me was how bad I was to this technology, and I'm sure it's happened to you too. You're learning too, because you seem like you knew, but you didn't. You had the basics, but having Doug in your life, he was able to set things up pretty quickly. And I can imagine he just took over that. That's why I like the idea that of us being together. That I've made friends with Jeremiah, and he told me everything, and I knew everything how it worked. I mean, I knew about XM radio and I'm not stupid. My dad made stuff, he did media, made movies. He used to do things to the Cub Scouts and put sound behind it, and he would do all these productions, and he would cut it and splice it. He was really good at that. And so and you're like that too, and I am like that too. But I'm really not. I'm not trying to be. I'm doing just the basics. So what with him, I just thought, okay, so I'd be able to help you, because that's the key to Joe Rogan. And I always listen. When someone's successful in anything, I didn't know anything about podcasting 3 months ago. I didn't know what the word podcast meant, just like anybody else, right? Even you, or and I knew right away, because I was like with Yahweh. He said, well, and I found Joe Rogan, and I thought, let me listen to him. That was the Lance Foundation. I never listened to podcasts. I mean, what I want. I just happened to see that you had that. It's just hard this for me. I'm so busy, and doing other things. I got so much other going on, and so it really it really showed that I can handle all that. It's easy, and I can follow that like nothing. I'll be able to help you with that. But this documentation and everything, because now we finally had this, I'm able to put on there that now I'm on YouTube, and you're going to have more to catch up. Because there's so much I could have told you. Now I realize I can do this on YouTube and load up, so this will help us. But remember, Megan, by doing all this, you have the tools. Remember, if you do not contact me by the end of the summer, you're going to jail. You will be indicted and arrested at a later date because you're part of this. I know you're thinking, well, I've got more information. No, you don't. There's way more to connect with things. And I know Kelly, she's not going to get involved. She'll never contact me. She's watching you. So nobody trusts you because you are wedged in this. Unless you marry me, unless we date, unless you're my sister. I mean, these things have to happen. They can't happen any other way. It's impossible. Okay? You can be my assistant. I can hire you. But then the Doug thing, you have to be separate from him. You have to go through a divorce by law. I know you're in between that. I know, I remember when I was in Eagleville Hospital this past winter, when you took that picture, it was on the internet, and CJ would never make that up. This is Mike Piazza's cousin. He used to eat in his house. He grew up with him. He knows Vince like nothing. He's a Gennardi, CJ Gennardi. His family owns Gennardi's grocery stores. He just started working there 5 months ago. I didn't know it was going to Eagleville. But Joe, the police officer, the police chief in North Wales, took back the car, and I called Scott. I called Dane, talked on the phone, told him what's going on, and he said, "I got your back." He said, "Yeah, you're fine. You're not in trouble." He said, and I told him, he goes, "Yeah, we do have problems with the Land Foundation," and so Mike became very important to me, and he's now will be part of this investigation when it goes through, because she was kicking out people on the streets through doctors and through her Land Foundation. She was just saying, "I don't want them back," and they couldn't get back. I have people that have been homeless and can't get back. She can't do it. It's illegal. I found out in Eagleville on CJ, who said, "Oh, I know Land Foundation." She says, "I know that girl really well." She says, "Dallas, I used to live there." I said, "Oh," she's a nightmare. She says, "She's breaking the law." I said, "Is she?" And I didn't know, because I live Land Foundation. And all of a sudden, I could go back to Land Foundation in Eagleville. It was my second time meeting her. And I said, "You can't go back." She said, and the woman told me, the case manager, she said, "You have nowhere to go." I said, "You can't out of town. I've already paid it's a regular rental." She said, "That's what we thought. We'll look into it." And then the case manager says, "Yeah." She can't do that by law. She was allowing me to come back. They were looking for a new place for me. She's done that more than once to people for 30 years, 20 years. And even Mike at North Wales knew we had a case here. That's why I paid the $804 fine in North Wales. See, that in itself was an investigation in itself. Now, that was a great thing to learn, because she had 250 residents in that town. 250 clients in a 1 square mile town. She owns real estate all over the place. The people are everywhere. She runs that town. Land Foundation. I mean, if you look into it now, it's unbelievable. In fact, I lived there because of the Venezuela women. They were working with me, and they were working on the presidential shit, and they were talking to me, and they were saying, "Yeah, you know what we were talking." So a lot of things are going on. I mean, it was political, and the Secret Service was involved in that one. So we got that cleared up. And Kelly put the FBI vans all around the city for me to use those vans. When I went on Twitter, I would pull a van up. She put the ones in that we would use, 2441 for Florida for my name. She knew everything. She had them already. And so I was able to use that and document things. So everything, if you can pull back all that stuff from January and stuff, you'll see all this documentation. See, I wouldn't have to even get that stuff. If I go in there, I can't find that stuff anymore. And so all in there. So when CJ at that, and I said, and if I went back, I said, "We got a case here." And CJ told me, "Oh, she's a nightmare." She said, "She's bad." She said, she gets kickbacks of money to the doctors. And I said, "Really?" He says, "Oh yeah." He wanted to put her in jail. So then I told him, I said, "Listen," I said, "Well, Megyn Kelly," I said, I really care about her. I said, "I've been working with her on the internet and stuff." I said, I told her everything about you. I said, company wanted that. And he said, "You like her, don't you?" I said, "I like her." He goes, "You do like her. Is she married?" I said, "Yeah, she's married, done with the whole thing." She said, "Do you think?" And we went the whole thing. I was just being a kid. I was being kiddish, because that's kind of when it all really opened up. And he's like, He's like, well, let me, and he came and he looked at the computer while I was sitting there because I was in a controlled environment. I never had that before. I'd be like over there working on a computer. I can't work on a computer over at the Northtown because when you're 302, you don't have that. He said, let me, because I was 302, and because he stayed there, and he said, it's like 2 weeks. And he said, let me show you. And he's going around the computer because I mean, it was everything. It was just, I loved him. He was the greatest guy in the world. We had so much fun together. He was going to sneak me in a telephone. I said, no, don't do that. So he felt like he really, because he wanted Lamp Foundation down. So he showed a picture of you, and I'm like, oh gosh, she's beautiful. He goes, he is beautiful. And then that night he went home, and the next day he came and goes, Dallas, I'm going to tell you something so you know. He goes, are you Doug? And he's like that. I said, no. He goes, who's Doug? And I said, that's Megan's husband. Well, apparently, does she have a daughter named Yardley? Okay, I didn't say any shit, nothing. I go, yeah, heart was racing. He goes, well, apparently Doug was arrested last night and Yardley was taken out of the house. It was a Washington thing. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I know you'd be shocked. He goes, I was just surprised. He goes, he didn't know you. He never knew you, Megan. He didn't know anything about you. He would know you from a hole in the wall. That's what was weird about that. He was just looking at you, doing a background on you, because I told her, I said, you're still TV, but he had no idea. He still didn't know who you were. And he was telling me that, and I'm shocked. I'm sitting there going, is she okay? He goes, I think from part they were wording it. He said, and he goes, oh, by the way, I looked into it, and Doug has money, right? I said, yeah. He goes, well, I went back a couple hours later to get a copy of it to print out for you to bring in. He said, and it was taken off the internet. It was washed out. He goes, I bet he did that. My heart was racing. I thought, oh my God, what happened to Yardley? And the state, the New York State, took custody of Yardley out of the home for the night, and Doug was taken away for questioning. And the Washington Post is basically what he told me, if I can remember correctly, I'm not sure, reported it. That's all he had. There was nothing else on the whole internet. It came out of nowhere because he was researching it that night for me. He just was doing it as a friend. And he said, are you okay? I said, yeah. He goes, well, this Doug sounds like a real piece of shit. I was like, yeah, he does. I said, just give me a minute. I had to walk away, and I had to pray about it. I thought, what's going on here? So that's the key. Something happened that day. By you still saying, I'm happy with Doug. I know you're trying to keep, because you're probably going through the worst life. But I'm just saying, now, here's the other side of that. CJ would never make that up. You'll be able to talk to him. You'll be the first place you'll talk to him. If you say you're going to like Dallas, that never happened. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's what kind of got scared me with you, because I know I didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. I can see you doing that. Well, then that's Kelly FBI putting that on there, because she knew everything was going on. I call them all the time. So that's the first thing I do when I go in those buildings. I call the FBI, and I have little messages for her, and I have little messages with Dane on the answer machine. So I keep them fly. They know more on the inside. That's why I thought it might have been good for me going over there yesterday. Turning myself in, because I thought maybe it was time to do that. But I did it right there and there in the room. I did all the phone calls to everybody in that waiting area. And they're like, no, you don't need to come in. You get your medications and stuff. So they put this up on there.